And welcome to our fourth week of Destiny Horizon with the Facebook group Star Wars Tides of Change. And joining me today are my beautiful players. Hello, beautiful players.
Hello.
I got one greeting. You, sir, get a boost on your next roll. Rest of
Yay.
you guys, sit back, assholes. No, we're back
Sweet,
again
sit
after an
back.
exciting break. I just suffered 3 weeks of bronchitis, so I am really looking forward to getting in on this. Very excited. And I just wanted to thank all my players for their patience and the delay, because for them it was not only a delay, but it was a 3-week delay. So that's not good for them. They want to play. And I think we're ready to go if you guys are ready to go.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, first things first, let's turn it over to the rolling page. I am going to go and open up the die pool here and reset, force sync the die pool, and we're all going to roll Destiny. And for the last 2 weeks, I've gotten all of it. So if you guys would like to do that this week, I would appreciate it. I've got a lot of plans for you guys. And unfortunately, the plans kind of need you guys to do terrible. Let me reset my chat log. They don't need to see that we were struggling with Skype earlier.
Well, if we were using that other thing with what's the other thing that doesn't work half the time, the Google, then more than likely with the rolls are always sucky on ads. You get your wish.
Oh, it's
Damn
looking
it.
like it. Let's see.
Let's
Yurg,
see.
Grakazza, and Coran, you gave me all dark side. It's up to you, Valery.
Ah, shit.
All right,
In your
all right.
character sheet, over where it says
Yes.
dice pool towards the top, there's a
Yes.
roll force die.
Yeah. Roll.
Destiny.
Destiny. Roll Destiny.
Oh, the
sorry.
Destiny. Oh, roll Destiny. Okay, mine still has a 6 on the dark. That
Manually reset it to 0. It should have
okay.
reset it. Or, I'm sorry, 0 light, 3 dark. That's what you should reset it as.
Okay. Yeah, it's not changing.
Here,
some
I'll fix
reason.
it.
Please.
I can get in there and fix that for you.
Hit the
sir.
sync pool with GM.
Oh, yeah, okay. Did that fix it?
It did. All right, so now I shall roll Destiny.
Fantastic. Oh, yes!
Damn it.
You get your wish.
4 dark side points!
This game's rigged.
I'm sorry, I'm terrible at math. How many light side points did you guys get? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was...
Well,
So-
if you want to do it mathematically, we're halfway to get them back. So,
We'll see. We'll see.
well, if you have plans for them, we're going to get them back, right?
Yeah, you're
So-
going to get them back real fast. So, our title screen fades, and instead of panning down on the ring world like we would expect, it actually pans back down on the view of Ansaria. And there's Imperial ships everywhere. Ansaria is an absolute mess. It's on fire. It actually looks like a lava planet from space because of how bad the bombardment was. Imperial ships have taken formation. They've got worker bee pods. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that shuttle before, the worker bee shuttles, but they're tiny little forklift yellow-sized ships with arms, and they're moving debris. There's so much debris out here that they actually have to move it into a big blob. You actually see some of the worker pods working together to push larger pieces of debris into Ansaria's orbit, and then like pieces of Star Destroyer burn up as it crashes into the planet's surface. They don't care. Anybody who survived on the planet's going to die within the next week or so from poisoning. Now, as you may recall, it's been several weeks for the people in Ansaria since you've jumped, even though it has not even been 24 hours for you guys. And all the Imperial ships are around. Camera pans out from the planet as you see all the worker bee ships, and then all of a sudden you see the window panes of a Star Destroyer come into view. Standing on the bridge of the Star Destroyer is a very distraught Admiral August. He's got patchy hair over his face because he hasn't shaved or slept in a while. His eyes are red around their orbs, and he just yawns lightly when another officer who has an unbuttoned collar, normally not allowed, but it's been such a hectic week, a lot of them are unbuttoning their collar to get some cooler air in there. And he walks up and he goes, "Sir, I wanted to discuss something with you." And the Admiral turns on his heels to look at this Imperial cadet. And he's like, "Yes? Sir, our guest has arrived. He says he's got everything he needs to complete the repairs on the ring, and says that the Emperor has ordered he take charge of the search himself, sir. I am sorry." Admiral August, his fists clench, knuckles white. Surely what was a military failure on Praxis 4 has disappointed the Emperor, but enough to replace him? No, it can't be. So he clicks his heels, walks past the Imperial cadet, and moves over to his communication terminal, which is this chrome pad in the middle of the bridge. And it looks like he's receiving a message. So he sits down in a chair and presses a button. The chrome pad lifts, and all of a sudden a blue hologram emerges. Standing before him is a Chiss wearing a white admiral's uniform, staring at him with beady red eyes. And he says, "Admiral August?" The Admiral swallows and he's like, "Yes, sir. I hope you know I'm sending my best to ensure that you accomplish your task. Do not disappoint me. You are to report to me directly. The Emperor need not know your failures on a daily basis." Does that sound understandable? The Admiral August swallows hard. "Yes, Admiral. When can we expect the new ship?" "Within a few days. And I assure you, you will be punished for your failures." And then you just see the hollow visage of Grand Admiral Thrawn hit a button, and it cuts out. Admiral August looks over the bridge out the window. Shit. The screen wipes out, and all of a sudden, it shows the inside of a space shuttle that is completely strewn apart. Cups are everywhere. Interns are peeking outside their cupboards and then shutting them real fast. One of them's hiding behind a chair next to a lamp, and it looks like they're trying to hide, but their shoes are sticking out a little bit. Some weeping can be heard in some of the side rooms, and the sound of a Wookiee roaring in anger and the lightsabers flashing and blaster fire can be heard. The pilots up front are starting to smell the burn from blaster reports up in the front. Sith Inquisitor's looking in a bad way. He's very severely torn apart. He's got a blaster wound in his chest that's actually pulsating blood down his uniform, and several claw marks all over his body. And he growls, "Enough of this! I did not come here to fight." And he holds his lightsaber up in a defensive position. "Lower your weapons." And before him, Grakazza, describe how you're standing in the middle of this fight.
I'm just kind of standing there with this very intense look on my face, as much as you can tell from the fur, and it's just kind of like this dirty, matted, tired look.
Would you say there's resignation?
A little bit. There's a little bit of a resignation in just that, it's been nonstop go for the last 24, 36 hours.
36 hours, yeah, since Praxis.
I have he has a hole in his gut. He's probably going to get another one. And he's much more willing to listen, but he's also willing to end this guy if it goes south.
Standing behind the Wookiee, but still within clean shot, stands a Bothan whose blaster pistol is smoking slightly as the laser blast came out. And for those of you science nerds who say that there isn't smoke coming out of the guns because they're lasers, shut up! In my world, there is smoke coming out of the guns because the coolant in the barrel has to vent. So
Did someone complain about that?
No, I'm just nipping this in the bud right now and know that this isn't...
It sounds like
Star Wars guns don't smoke, but they do in my universe.
Sounds like someone
Gabe,
would post that on the
describe
other
this Bothan to us. How is the Bothan reacting to this plea from the Inquisitor to stop the combat?
I would say with a very stern face. Well, of course, if anybody knows Yurg, most of the time he has that stern face look, even when he's happy. But eyes are probably more squinted from paying it, kind of like doing a visual aim with the aim of the weapon, and he's over here trying to give me an order that, to me, he has no reason to give me an order because, well, he's not one of my superior officers. And first of all, I don't even know who he is. So, and this guy has the Force, and I know when it's a no joke, and I know it's standing behind him. And to me, it's I must stop him before he could actually destroy the ship and everybody on it. So there's determination.
Determination. Are you looking for ways to... In fact, let me ask this. Grakazza and Yurg, do you guys, in this moment of silence, wish to make any rolls? As far as, like, I don't know if you want to do tech. I don't know if you want to intimidate him. I don't know if you want to look for anything in the scenery you can use. It's up to you guys, but I thought now would be a good time to get those rolls in case we start fighting again. So you have a brief moment to analyze something or look around or say something. It's
the only thing I would be worried about were his hands, what they're about to do or what are they doing, because I know their hands are connected to it, but I don't. I mean, it's from what I've heard. So to me, it's pay attention to his hands, not really his. When I'm working with people, like you're looking at facial recognition, but when you're working with the Force user, you want to look at their hands, like a magician in a sense.
You know, since you said that, I was going to give setback to any attack that went at him because he's in a defensive stance, but I'm going to say because you're watching his hands and that's what you're focusing on, I'm not going to give you that setback. Because you're going to be able to outwit him. Grakazza, is there anything you would like to do?
Would it be alright if I rolled a perception to see if there's anything kind of in the area that we're in that I can use to my advantage if we have to start attacking again?
Why don't you roll a perception?
Okay.
Difficulty is going to be 2 purple because, like I said, he is not making advances. He's bleeding on the ground, like the floor is starting to collect little puddles of blood, and he's just panting.
Okay, anything else, or is it all?
Oh, I'm sorry, you wanted more? No, just 2 purple. If you want,
I'm used to your difficulties.
You know.
More.
Roll black die on top of that because you made a good point. The difficulties, you're pretty freaking hurt. So just roll, reset your die pool. Just roll the black.
Someone call the fish doctor to go fix him.
All right, so you have 1 advantage,
He's
but
fighting.
you did not see anything out of the ordinary. Or anything that could assist you. So does anyone reply to him, or are you guys just standing there at this awkward stalemate?
All right, so he basically yelled, "Drop your weapons! None of this."
It was more like, "Take it easy," but he tried to make it sound menacing, like, "Drop your weapons! I'm not here to fight. I'm totally in control of the situation."
All right. I'm kind of like giving a quick eye as well to Grakazza, to me, to see how he's going to react.
I'm standing there. I'm in a kind of a very ready posture, kind of like a little bit hunched over, but it's to make sure I'm like at a very. You can kind of tell that I'm exhausted, but I'm very much ready to spring into action and just tear this guy apart if it blows up again.
All right, so seeing that
is from the back, Yurg, what you probably see is the Wookiee hunched over a little bit, and the sign of his exhaustion could be in the fact that his head's not looking directly at the Sith. He's probably got his head lowered, and you see his back heaving as he's breathing heavily from this onslaught of brutal attacks he just did against the Sith. The interns feel bad for the Sith, honestly, because Grakazza just went in and bits of clothes and blood kind of came out. because he's just like, rage attack. Meanwhile, Yurg is sitting there and timing his shots perfectly as this laser just goes right over Grakazza's arm as he's swinging and hits the Sith Inquisitor. He didn't even have time to react. He was just like, He made one futile swing at the Wookiee and then was like, okay. Talk about this.
All right, so seeing basically the reaction for Kaza and him trying to take control of the situation on, again, I know it's not a military ship, it's the civilian ship, but to me it's the military because, it's usually how we go in. I shoot.
All right, he's kind of expecting this, so I'm not going to give you advantage. It's 1 purple because you're a short distance away. That's it.
Okay. And that.
All right. Shit. I've denied his defensive bonus there. So he's like, I'm not after you. I don't want to fight. And he's giving you guys, and he's given Grakazza this stern look like, I understand you're a great warrior, and I respect that. I'm a great warrior too, but we don't need to die today. And as Grakazza's locking eyes with him, his facial expression changes really suddenly. And this big burn mark just goes on his forehead, and brain matter goes on the wall behind him, and he's just like, and then plops down out of view. And that's when you guys hear his body hit the floor, roll down the ramp towards the exit door.
I shuffle over to the exit door controls, just slam a very weary paw on it, and just let the body slide out.
So you're like, and the body slides out, and then you shut it. And your ship banks hard as it's entering orbit and leaving the ring. But that's when you guys realize that field is still there that's keeping your guys' ship in the ring. So the moment it gets up, it pushes down, and the pilot radios in the back and goes, I'm not able to get through this ring, guys. We need to find somebody who can disable this.
I
Do we need a recap?
I look over towards the interns and I say, didn't one of you say you could fix this?
We're afraid.
One of them's like, I could, but then a guy was behind. I ran. I never finished it.
Then go finish it.
Look, all we have to do is recalibrate, and he starts describing what he's going to do. He's like, all I have to do is recalibrate the shields to be the same frequency as the exit pattern shields. We can get through the barrier shields just fine. It's a fake atmosphere. If we can collaborate it, we can actually convince the atmosphere that we're part of it, and it will let us out. Then we should be able to rendezvous with the rest of the ships and have everything taken care of.
You could have just said, I'm on it.
Right.
Yeah, good luck.
I'm on it. And he kind of glares at you and asshole turns around and walks over to his desk.
Yurg moves back to the back of the ship, kind of like away from the cockpit and everything. His gun's still raised up to this Inquisitor that has fallen and sliding out the ship just to make sure that he doesn't get up. And I'll reach in through my pouch, and on the shoulder of Kaza, I'll slap the stim pack. Last time I used it on him, he kind of got mad at me, but I'm gonna let him do it this time if he wants it.
Right, Grakazza, I need you. First off, are you going to use the stim pack willingly? And if not, I need you to make a discipline roll.
I'll use it willingly. I think I'm beyond the point of caring if I use the stim pack.
3. Because we still have not slept. So you gain 3 wound threshold. And you get a boost die for the next hour to all rolls that require mental capacity. Because the moment you inject yourself with a stim pack, you're like, ah. The sense of euphoria washes over you, and your wound and your stomach tickles and warmth, and you're just like, Meanwhile, the camera slides off as the ship is trying to get out of the ring. And out of character, does Grakazza and Yurg remember while they were on the ship? Do you guys remember? Why don't you
that
go
we're on
ahead
the
and
ship?
recap our audience? Yeah, because it's been
For
a
the
few.
reason why we're on the ship?
Mhm.
We were supposed to flee the area and try to even get communication with the three wise men. Yes, I think that's what we're calling them now. And there was a blockade of some sort that our sensors were picking up, and I had to turn back the ship. And from doing this, the policemen of the area tried catching on to us from the escape, and then I kind of made it so that they'd catch us. Since I had no way of communicating with them, like, look, we're gonna follow suit, so letting them slap on and let us park, and basically not leave because they're on the across somewhere right around there, watching us. So
Right.
that is all from Yurg's point of view of what was going on.
That's a perfect recap. Now, question. So that we can recap for the audience, whose ship was it that you guys are on?
It
Where's
is
the Destiny?
Valerie's.
It's Valerie's little shuttle. Yep.
Oh,
The one that you had taken to the Destiny. So, it's got a bunch of science equipment on it. I just want to make that clear, refreshing you guys what your resources are so that you guys know this isn't a military ship, there's no weapons, but it does have science equipment and a sick bay. I almost said sick-ass bay. That's a sick bay. Oh, it's got the sick-ass bay, man. 0.5% APR if you get it today. No. But yeah, it's got a sick bay on board, but it's really small. It's only got one bed in it. Think Firefly, you know, their sick bay where it's just got the chair and it's really tiny. It's about that big. Meanwhile, the screen splits and Valerie, you are sitting down in a chair in this commissioner's office, and you're looking up at this gravity clock, and the gravity clock has a bead that runs around it, and you just hear. Now, you guys aren't used to analog clocks, so that's one of those noises that if you're not used to it and you walk into the room, you're like, ah, and there's a bunch of smaller clocks around it, kind of like NOS gauges that you would see in a car, and they're all going, all with different time zones, and one of them says Core Worlds, and the Core Worlds is actually a temporary label that's been put on there, and it's like,
oh, like somebody wrote on tape and wrote it and stuck it across it or something.
yep,
like that.
and you can see.
Oh, so we can read it.
You can read it. It's in the Galactic Basic, but you also know that the clock, I mean, you've been on Coruscant before, Valerie. Same with you, Reed, on an undercover mission. You guys know that's Coruscant's time. Here you are in Wild Space.
Interesting.
Valerie, while you're looking at this clock, what is your... To give you guys a kind of a recap of what happened, the commissioner was staring at a whiteboard that he's got a bunch of names and stuff on, and he turns to you and he's like, what the hell are you doing here? And
he's come in? Oh, that's right. He did come in.
Yep.
When I was last
So,
on him. Does he look familiar?
No, not familiar. He's
Okay.
he's got dark skin, so he's black, he's bald, intense chocolate eyes, aged. He's got wrinkles. He looks like he should be at retirement age, but apparently he's stubborn and still wants to work. And on one of his arms, he has a prosthetic arm. But unlike the prosthetic arms in the Core Worlds where you could put skin on them and you can make them the size of a human hand, his is a little bigger and it's chrome. I would describe it, and he doesn't have 5 fingers. He's got like this kind of a grip. I would honestly, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Warforged from Eberron and Dungeons and Dragons and 4th edition and some of the other games that they're in, but it looks chrome and very large pieces. It's not fine and intricate. It looks like it's designed to throw a punch, you know, block a blaster bolt. He's actually, as you guys look at it, he's even got some blaster singeing on his hand already. And he's dressed in a police uniform other than that. And he's very clean shaven, though. Very clean shaven. Okay. So, Valerie, what are you doing at this time? Are you interested? You guys are here because while the civilians were greeting you guys, you remember the aliens that were greeting you guys like this?
Yeah.
And you guys got stopped by the cops to go, hey, what's going on here? And are you guys part of the Sith? And you're like, oh, no, we're not part of the Sith. And then they pulled out the mummy and the books from your shuttle. And you're like, okay, well, maybe we're, I know what it looks like, but we're not part of the Sith. So immediately they're upset. There's also billboards going around of like this monster sighting. It's like Bigfoot sightings, and they're all these billboards are like, we've seen him, he was running over here, and it's this still shot of Grakazza looking at a drone camera as he's booking, and they're just like, oh my god, he looks, and to them he looks terrifying because his chest is shaved and there's all these staples and stitches. I mean, he does look like a really scary monster. So the commissioner's trying to figure out what the hell's going on, and then you guys stroll in. And the moment that he was informed about you guys, he turned to you and spoke to Basic, asking you guys, what the heck are you doing here? He's not speaking the language that you guys didn't understand.
He's speaking, so it's like, oh, the first person who speaks our mother tongue.
Right. And Tittles finally makes it up the stairs.
Where have you been?
She walks in and she's like, oh,
that's right. I forgot.
Your brace is like, I'm slow.
Okay. Well,
it's
anyway.
nothing but stairs.
So Valerie's going to go into her spiel. Well, you know that thing the ring that you've got out there, the portal? No, it's not. Did we see the ring that we just appeared?
You just appeared.
Well, where we live on the far side of the galaxy, there's this big old gate. And part of my group of archaeologists and other scientists were brought here to study it. Well, the thing started up when we got too close, which had something to do with the Imperials back where we are. And the next thing we know, it opens up, it sucks us through along with several of the ships, and here we are.
He just looks confused. Reed, what are you doing at this point?
I'm just
because he kind of addressed you too. He did not address you, and you're used to. I mean, you've worked with Valerie the past few months. You're used to people addressing you because you look like you're in charge. But he addressed the both of you. It's almost like he doesn't even understand your military rank.
Oh, okay. I'll pretty much just walk forward and say, my name is Lieutenant Coran Reed. I'm part of the 31st Research Fleet, the fleet that is in your orbit right now.
We came here to the whiteboard when you say fleet, and you see his eyes dart over to some writing saying strange ship spotted in orbit, should we unleash the fleet, and a bunch of like informational reports on it.
Okay. To clarify, our fleet is just a scientific research fleet. We were investigating an artifact when we were attacked by a tyrannical government, and to escape, we had to go through the portal like my colleague told you, and it made us appear here. So we came here to talk to you because we accidentally crashed a ship into one of your buildings, and we do apologize immensely for that.
Yes, that wasn't the plan.
We both came here to try to, what's the word?
Save us.
Yeah.
Explain your intentions. He finishes it.
Oh, you mean here? Well, yeah. We're not here to hurt anybody. We're not here to cause any problems. We weren't even going to land. We had a malfunction.
This is a fantastic story
ship.
you've told me. He turns and looks back at the whiteboard and then turns back. But you still haven't told me where you're from. You just told me how you got here.
Well, personally, I came from a planet originally called Bespin. And then Tittle.
His eyes freeze.
And then we ended up.
Did you say Bespin?
Yeah, it's gas giant. It's a
I
big
know
gas
what
giant.
Bespin is.
You do?
He just kind of holds up his artificial hand and turns.
Really? So you came through the portal too?
And then he turns and looks back at you and he's like, yes, and I dismissed it.
Oh, well. Interesting.
They travel around, so we might not have even been in the same planetary orbit, but...
Oh, that's interesting to know.
I was very fortunate.
Not stationary.
Listen, I understand that you guys aren't here to make trouble. What is it that you need? Why did you come to the Ring World? Why didn't you just keep going?
personally, I'd like to leave to go back to my ship. I was en route from one ship to
Done.
the other. Oh, thanks. See, Tittles, we can go back. Oh, and this is Tittles. This is my droid.
He looks at the droid and he's like, "Nice to meet you." And the droid goes, "Wop, wop, 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 wop." And on your wrist, you can kind of see like, "A pleasure, sir." And he looks back and he goes, "Thank you. Well, at least you have a polite droid."
Very.
The reason that we are here is our fleet is heavily damaged and we need a place to land, and we didn't want to just come into your atmosphere and land our ships as it would look possibly like an invasion. We need to repair many of our ships, and we can't do it when we're out in space. We need to land them to make efficient repairs.
He nods. Well, Republic credits aren't going to do you much good out here. He turns around, walks over to a bookcase and pulls a book out, and then goes over and opens it. And what's different about this book as opposed to modern day books is this book has paper that doesn't fade. It's got no acid in it. The ink looks crisp, and it's got a USB port kind of device at the bottom, so when he plugs it into his desk, the letters light up for nighttime reading. But other than that, it doesn't look like this area of the galaxy went the route of iPads and holograms as much as it went the route of really cool electronically and attached paper. So it's kind of interesting. Catches you guys off guard because to you it seems really archaic. Wouldn't it be easier just to have a hologram that tells you the information? Well, I mean, what is this? I'm going to ask Valery and Coran the same thing that I asked the other two in this moment of reprisal. Is there anything you guys would like to do as far as looking around?
Actually, I would like to look around and find a place to take a nap before we leave.
All right, roll perception.
Okay.
Difficulty 1 purple. Mr. Reed.
I'm also going to look around, but for what I'm looking at is any kind of inkling of who this man is, and possibly what are his intentions in the, as I can tell from the things that he has around him.
There we go.
Fantastic. It turns out the commissioner has one of those, like, Law and Order couches in his room where there's just it's the black or brown leather with the big buttons in it. So there's all these deep presses. It almost looks like a therapist couch. Well, if what you are trying to do, Mr. Reed, is analyze this person, what do you think you would roll? If you could find a skill that you want to use to analyze this person, it could be a knowledge check, it could be a... Will you stop dice pulling the check, Grakazza? This isn't even your damn scene!
I just went to open the tab and it just did that. I'm sorry.
We'll get to you in a moment, sir. No, but if there's anything in your skill list that you think might work, you tell me, and I'll tell you what the difficulty is based on your roll. You can like maybe a skullduggery check, and skullduggery, I always associate that with like thievery. You know what I mean? And I know it's got its own uses. And for those of you who are playing the game, skullduggery is a very, very, very useful skill check for planting traps and little things like that. Like, I would describe it as Han Solo acting all nonchalant at the table, but pulling his blaster out to blow Greedo's face off because Greedo never got to shoot. Anyway, so the way that I look at it is skullduggery can also be used if you want to use a thieves perspective. You're in a police department.
Yeah.
Thieves probably look around all the time to find out dirt on the cops that arrest them or whatever. So you have that option. And I'm trying to broaden your mind. Of course, you've got perception that you can roll, but perception's only going to give you things you hear, smell, taste, see. Yeah. It's your senses. A leadership check, in case you want to know more about his leadership qualities. So you look through the skill list and you tell me what you want to roll, and then I'll tell you how difficult it is.
Okay.
Now, Valery, you being a nerd, and I mean that in the best way, You heard him
That's
say
fine.
Republic credits. Republic credits were phased out and replaced with Imperial credits.
So how long has it been since you were back in the Republic, which is no longer the Republic, which is now the Empire?
The moment you say no longer the Republic, his hand tightens on the table, his good hand, and you see his knuckles lighten to a softer brown. And I was there the day it fell.
What did you do? What was your... What?
Excuse me. He turns around and looks at you. Have you ever been arrested before? I mean, I know you guys aren't arrested, but let me explain this to you. I'm the one asking the questions. You are potential suspects to an accident. Whether it was your fault or not, I still have to do an investigation. You don't ask me about my past, I ask you about yours. Understood?
Oh, by all means. Yes, by all means. Please continue. And she just kind of smiles at him. He wants to hide his life.
Are you trying to charm him, would you say?
No, she's just...
So it's very sarcastic.
Obviously, there's something... No, it's not. But she gets that there's obviously something he really wants to hide. So, it's like, okay. We'll find out later.
He sees your smile, and he takes it as genuine. And
all right, that's fine. She's not being rude to him.
I think... what would you like to roll, Mr. Reed, or do you still want to think about it?
I think I'll probably do a leadership just to kind of tell what kind of man this is, since I'm a military dude.
2 purple.
Okay. Boop, boop. 2 purple. No. Popcorn. There we go.
Damn. I think the threat is that he notices that you're like you're
sizing
looking
him
at him.
up.
Yeah, he notices that. I'm not going to give you strain because it's not like you're like, like that doesn't make sense to me. But he definitely kind of looks at you, sizing him up. But your success is that he was a man that held great position. He carries himself like a politician, but he also carries himself like a soldier. So it's not like a general. It's not in that sense that he's very rigid and disciplined. It's more like he's very relaxed in his stature, very calm, but you get the feeling that he's one of those people that loosens himself up and at any time could be like, rah, and kick your ass.
Okay, yeah, so kind of like a guy who's seen combat many
most
times.
Definitely. In fact, you didn't even really need to roll or to figure that out because his hand is testament that, unless he got that in a factory, but him being a cop, you're automatically going to assume that, oh yeah, he was definitely in battle.
Okay. I'm going to ask him, so is there a way that our ships can land in a designated area that you have?
He kind of smiles and he says, well, as much as I would love to help you, the problem is that you want to land a fleet. We don't really have very many space docks, but, and he's thumbing through the book that he pulled. This is my resource book. If you give me a moment, I can contact the Ships Manufacturing Guild and have them send someone out to repair your ships. But without the proper money, it's not going to be easy for you guys.
Understandable. Do you think these people would trade in someone to do odd jobs for them?
As much as I hate to say it, there's always a need for mercenaries.
Well, once you get in contact with them, is there any way that we can...
I'm sorry. I won't be contacting them. You will.
Okay. Once you give us the information,
You
is
got
there a way
promoted
that...
quickly, didn't you?
How can you tell?
I trained young ones in the past. His eyes kind of look down.
Oh, really?
Then glances back up to you. I've seen people who got promoted quickly, probably faster than they were comfortable with, and it's meant as no offense. It's just I've seen some cadets in my own law enforcement
You were a
promote too
Jedi.
quickly. He kind of fades off. It snaps his
I
eyes to
understand.
Valery. He's like, Jedi? No.
Cadets, younglings.
Well, young ones.
It's okay.
Cadets.
It's all right. She says it's okay.
Do
I
you
understand.
deal with her very often? He motions to Reed. No, I'm not a Jedi. Jedi and Sith, they haven't been seen here in God knows how long. They're in the history books. Now, at this point in time, he is lying to you, or he is not lying to you, or you guys are just going to accept it.
She doesn't believe him.
And that's why I'm giving you this option.
Okay.
If you don't think your character believes him, you can make a roll, but keep in mind that this roll by no means means that you're accusing him or anything like that. But let's take a look at it.
This is what I was thinking. She understands why he probably would not want to talk about it, and she's not going to bring it up again.
Right, that's fine. But if you want to roll to see if he's lying, you can do that without, I can't remember which skill check it is. I'm having a brain fart against lying.
You know what? No, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to.
Oh, okay.
Just go ahead. It's okay.
Yeah.
She'll respect him for whatever his opinion, for what his feeling is. Because considering what happened, the whole Order 66 thing and all that madness, how terrible it was. And look what's come of it. They were supposed to, saying, we were going to make things better. And was this better what we left? No,
well,
so in the long run.
But that's
in the long run.
That's if he's a Jedi. I mean,
To her, she believes he is.
I know.
But she's not going to say anything to anybody else.
He could even be like a senator or an old military leader. I just don't want you to get your mindset on him being a Jedi unless you make a lie check or anything like that. Because now you're hypothesizing. I don't.
Which
want
is
to
what she would do.
Down the wrong path. Yeah, absolutely. No, I remember reading it. So, Mr. Reed.
Yes.
You see him get caught off guard when she says Jedi, and the look he gives her is like, what? Like, almost disbelief. Did you want to make a roll? If not, that's fine. Now I'm going to let you know, if you fail, or if you get too much threat, he's going to know that you guys are, like, not trusting him. Does that make sense? But if you roll and you succeed, then I'll tell you. If you fail, I'll tell you.
I think Reed would pretty much... He wouldn't believe that, because as he's learned, the Jedi have been completely wiped out, except some farm boy that blew up the Death Star, which he doesn't believe that story. But that's beside the point. He won't push on this guy because he can see this guy.
Reed, you were in Hoth, the Battle of Hoth, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's rumors swirling around all over the place about how Luke saved everybody. And
nah, come on, everybody knows that's a lie. Now he would pretty much just assume this guy has either been military or in the police force for long enough to, to have that soldier.
Well, definitely, like I said, he looks like he can fight, but he doesn't carry himself like a soldier.
Yeah.
More like a politician or somebody who used to be in charge. Definitely.
Okay. Yeah, and that would be how he would see him as a commissioner at this point. He's gotten those skills over the years, so he wouldn't. Nah, he'd be like, whatever.
He goes over to the desk.
This guy's probably got skeletons in his closet, so.
There's like a black. I don't know if you guys see the conference rooms. Those little speakers where you can make calls to people all over the world. He's got something like that on his desk, and he hits it, and the secretary answers, and he mentions, I need a call to the Shipwrights Merchants Guild. We need them here. We've got a fleet of damaged ships that could use some repair. And she confirms, and he says, well, I guess the first thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to speak to the lenders.
The lenders?
Yes, they're part of the banking guild.
Money people.
Alrighty.
You're going to need money. And I advise you don't wave around Republic credits, because they don't acknowledge it.
Okay.
Listen, I assume you're going to need to get back to your fleet. So,
Yeah.
Do you guys have a data pad?
Yeah, here. She'll pull out her bag.
He takes it and he looks down and he kind of looks at all the weird font on it and he goes, "This is different. I assume that, okay." And he's trying to learn how to use it.
Here, she'll show him.
The Imperial
There.
Arabic to him, he doesn't really recognize it. It's slightly different than the language he's used to, but he can navigate just fine, and he inputs some information in there and says, "Okay, I've got your pad's address," and he hands it to you, and then he whips out his own data pad, which is clear, kind of like the Mass Effect ones, and then the image displays on it, and he hits a few buttons. You receive a message, Valery. It's got permits.
Okay.
So that you can leave the ring and re-enter it. And it lasts 2 weeks. Next time you need a permit, it'll cost you 200 credits.
Okay.
Dismissed. And he motions to the door.
Thank you.
Remember, vendors. And he taps on Reed, and he goes, "Take her, by the way."
Will do.
No offense, miss, but you're quite beautiful. And that could persuade the bankers to give you a loan.
Good to know. If you need to personally contact me, this is my ship, and I'll point it out. And, hopefully, I'll be back there soon to check with my the rest of the science team.
That
So
must
if
be
you
the
need
vessel
anything-
that's trying to leave orbit.
Oh,
I'll go ahead and
Well.
give it a permit.
okay.
The law enforcement.
Oh, is that
should leave
the?
it alone.
You're talking about the shuttle or the actual?
Oh,
okay.
you were talking about
No,
the big
actually,
ship?
the bigger ship. Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of
Yeah.
looks down at the bigger ship and he's like, "Huh. I've seen this class before. That shouldn't be a problem." All right, dismissed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As you guys are heading out, he's like, "Lieutenant Reed, a moment, please."
She'll
He's
go
gonna.
out. Come on,
Yeah.
Tiddles. We need to get a head start with you.
Womp, womp, womp,
And-
womp. Tiddles follows.
Never mind. Just go.
And Reed will tell J116 to follow Valery.
Of course, sir.
Wait, isn't he oh no, you put him on a body.
Yeah,
That's
he's
right. I
got.
guess I thought he
Okay,
was
so
just
he's
the head in
a
the bag
protocol
still.
droid, and he's got a taxi driver body.
God, what a nightmare.
It's yellow, and it's got the black and white checkers across the chest. And
And he didn't
tells-
even he didn't even ask, like, what's this? He didn't
he
even ask,
tilts
like,
his
why do you
head
have
towards
this?
Lieutenant Reed, and he's like, "Sir, are you
I
forgetting
forgot
something?"
I thought he was just still the head in the bag.
No,
Okay. God.
sir, are you forgetting something?
Forgetting something?
Yes, you are Lieutenant Reed, and I am.
Johnson.
Thank you so much, sir. It lightens my programming to know that you have acknowledged my purpose.
Just go with her.
Yes, sir, right away. And he turns around and follows Valery. He's like, "Ma'am, I think it's so interesting that you know somebody." And they just kind of fade out as he's gabbing with Valery. He shuts the door. And it's kind of a slam, but not a loud slam. And he closes all of his blinds, and he goes up to you, and he's like, "Rule number 1, she needs to stop asking questions."
That may be a little harder, but I'll try to convince her.
Either that, or she will be killed. These guilds, they don't tolerate anything. Remember the old Trade Federation?
I wrote a history book or two.
You wrote a book. I would love to read it.
No. Read
No.
one.
He says, history books, right. Well, just keep in mind that this part of Wild Space is quite large, and we still operate on a merchant contract system.
Okay.
So, refresh your history books. And then he opens the door. That's all.
Thanks. And he's gonna just kind of head out.
Meanwhile, the screen wipes back to Grakazza and Yurg. The interns have cleaned up the shuttle. I know, don't you love that, Azel? You go to eat, and I'm like, back to you guys. So the interns are picking up all their stuff and setting it back on the tables. And a comms officer turns around and goes, we just got permits for the planet, apparently, for the ring world. It's called Beacon. We can leave.
How did you get that?
It was sent to the ship. He holds his hands up as if it's like, oh.
How did we get that? It did not come through my systems.
Unfortunately, I don't know. I can give you the communications information, but it looks like it's from the ring world.
Ah, good. Lieutenant did exactly what he needed to do.
I hope he
Go ahead
didn't
and
kill
send
anybody. Valery tells me he's kind of trigger happy.
I look at the guy and I just say, only when there's Sith around.
Seems to happen a lot with you guys.
He may be in some trouble if he's going a little gun happy. We don't have to have his back as usual. I'm working on trying to get the communications from the three wise men. I'm going to try to put up the voltage like I did up there to see if I can get that, but that's probably what's interfering why I didn't get the...
May not be needed, sir. I think this frequency gives us permits to use their communications as well. Apparently they've got 16 communication satellites.
Okay, then you tell me which one the three wise men are on.
Do they know?
Here, sir. Any emotions to the chair and,
Are they sober?
and ask you to take a sit.
I said, tell me.
I don't know which... I don't know... What are they using to communicate?
Ah, then very good. See, that is what I am doing. If you couldn't tell me, I am figuring it out too. Now you understand my point.
You could tell that he looks like he's just messed up. He's like, very well then. Back to communications. And he goes and sits down, and one of the guys at the other consoles looks over and goes, good job. Grakazza, a woman, steps up, and she points to the sick bay. If you need, we can treat you in the sick bay.
I think that'd be nice.
Follow me. And she leads
Can
you
he
into
move?
the sick bay. Yeah, he can move.
Weirdly, but I
like
can
the
move.
crap beaten out of him. Someone should be taking him there. Not a thing.
So yeah, you guys, she takes you down a hallway and into the shuttle's little infirmary they have, and there's a woman there, and she's wearing a white... It's kind of like a lab coat. It's made more of a futuristic kind of silicone material than it is cloth, and it's attached together with all these little hexagons. And she spins on her heels and smiles at you as you walk in, or tries to smile, because here she is working in a human science vessel, and then a Wookiee walks in the door. And she's like, oh, hi. Have a seat. You look terrible.
I've been better. And I sit down.
She looks very confused. And the nurse goes, oh, that's right. Hang on. Only a few of us, thanks to Valery's interest in xenology, have the understanding of your language, my good friend. The doctor, unfortunately, she stays on the ship most of the time, so she doesn't... You know what? Let me just get a droid. And then
okay.
And then there's a few awkward moments. She goes, do you understand common or basic?
I nod.
Ah, excellent. Would you like something to drink? Would you like something stiff to drink? Oh, good. She goes over to her fridge, and there's a little lockbox in the back, and she opens it up, and she pulls out some scotch, and she pours it into 2 glasses and hands it. Looks at them, realizes she's only done a double, but for you, she makes it a quadruple, and then comes over and hands it to you. And she's a very beautiful woman she's probably 39, maybe 42 in that range, but she's a very beautiful human, very calming looking demeanor. And so, this is interesting work. She points to the wound. Very haphazard. It looks like it was done in a hurry.
I kind of start explaining, but then trail off, realizing again that she doesn't really understand.
She's like, right. It's at that moment that an R2 unit comes in and beeps at her, and she goes, yeah, just plug yourself in. And plugs himself in, and that's when he interfaces with the room. And anytime you talk, it shows up on a display so that she could read it.
Okay, so once I see that that's done, I go into an explanation of what's happened over the last 36 hours and all the wounds that I've sustained over that time.
She's like, dear God, would you like a stem pack? How long has it been since you've slept?
To be honest, I don't remember.
Would you like to sleep?
I think I need to.
You probably need something to help you out, too. So she hooks an IV up to you and does this. She shaves a part of your arm away so that she could find the vein. She puts the IV in there. She's got a book open to see what kind of nutritional needs a Wookiee needs. And then she goes over to this little needle, and now it won't knock you out for a long time. If anything, you'll just have a decent nap. And she injects the fluid into the IV, and you just see it dripping, and pretty soon your eyes slowly begin to shut. Yurg, you are on working with the comms, and you see an incoming transmission from orbit. Oh, you're muted, bud.
Yeah, I saw that. My little picture went away. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and answer it.
So yeah, you answer it, and the commander is on from Destiny Horizon.
Commander. Yes, Sergeant Yurg.
Oh, thank God, it is a mess up here.
What
Hasn't it been?
can you elaborate on mess, sir?
The goddamn civilians, they want to go to the ring. They don't understand they need to wait. They're not listening to me. And several of them are trying to make a break off for the planet. Whoever's down there, you got to find out what we could do, because these ships are coming in hot.
All right. Well, Commander, I may have good news, but I am not going to tell you how to run your post, but just be vigilant with these civilians, as you would say. They don't quite understand everything, and well, sometimes neither do I. But the good news is that Lieutenant Reed has made good influence of some sort, because we got what did you call them again? They were
the guy comes into the way, like the little hologram view, and he's like photobombing you, and he's like, sir, we got the permits and frequencies for communications, and also leaving and departing the planet. In fact, to tell you the truth, I think that's why you know what, I'm going to let you guys. And he turns around and walks away. The commander holds up his hand and goes, listen, we don't have time for that. We just found out there's a second Inquisitor on board, and he may be with you guys right now.
And he's been taken care of.
Relief flushes over his face, and he goes, oh, thank the gods. Listen, I have some other questions for you. And that's where we're going to go to our first break.
Oh, good.
Thank you very much, everybody. We're going to take a quick break, but tune in for part 2. Leave a like and a subscribe, and please, by all means, if you want to engage with the people, leave a comment. Let's engage these players. Let's get some communications going on. Thanks, guys. Bye.